Broadcasting. And soon the stream will be live, and now it is. So, hello everyone, and welcome to Adventure on So Many Levels. I'm going to turn off my air conditioner, and then we're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, we are.
Frozen Dungeons and Dragons.
I am Christiana Ellis. I am the Dungeon Master. Our players tonight, Jenny Meltzer as Zeline.
Hey guys.
Paul Fisher as Zinhorn.
Good evening.
Jude Schubert as Sequential.
Hello, hello.
And Mark Kilfoyle as Nedry.
I've been working on my questions for Lynn. I only get to choose 3 out of the current 105, though.
And I think answers will have to wait because, alas, I say alas for us that we are missing out on Starla tonight because she is packing to go on a cool trip. So.
And she's not taking us.
Yeah. But, you know, we wish her well while we do without. But in the meantime, let's talk about what happened to the Pocket Protectors last week.
We went back in the bag.
Yep. Well,
Lynn
Carolina came back and explained a whole bunch of things about herself and herselves, really. But it's just one of her, but it's still multiple. It's very confusing. But we had a long talk about that, and then we went into the bag of holding and had a conversation with the thing in the bag of holding using a new device that Sorashana whipped up for us. And the thing in the bag of holding wants us to go get a book. And we think we're going to go get the book, which is supposedly at the train station. And we need to look around and find some specific magical rune that will tell us where the hidden cache of stuff is buried.
Yeah, and let me clarify, too, that, like, you're not sure exactly, but your best guess at the location he's describing is now in the equivalent of Grand Central Station. Like, it is a large and busy train station with multiple platforms and hundreds of people that pass through it every day. And so if he buried it under the end point of one of the tracks, 85 years ago, it was probably easier to get to than it will be now.
Yep.
So we'll have to figure that out. But he did promise that if you obtained this book and gave it to him, specifically placed it in his hands, then he would give you some of the answers you're looking for. But in the meantime, you also decided to inventory all of the stuff in Isildur's bag of protection. And it was a lot of stuff. So I will just briefly sum up the list. There were a number of strange nodules that are designed to fit into either weapons or armor to provide a one-time boost of some kind. There's a force nodule, density nodule, banishing nodule, alarm nodule that all have various effects. There is a strange little wand-like ray that will work one time before you think it will burn out, and that could give a chance of numbing one limb of the target. You got a device that can view. It splits into 2 parts, and through one part you can view what is happening at the other part, no matter how far apart they are. There's another one that can view what happened at the current location at a time in the past, up to a year in the past. There is a magical spear that can activate a little drill and stick itself into whatever you target with it, and when it does, it gets cold and causes cold damage. There's a shield that analyzes the weak points of enemies. There's a pen that can write in three dimensions in the air with letters of smoke. There's a little figurine of a raven that can turn into a magic raven that can deliver messages. Gloves of missile snaring, a trident of fish command, and a staff of the adder that can basically, the head of it is a snake that can turn into a snake that actually bites. And then there was also various little bits that were not magical, but you suspect valuable. And so that is the quick summary. Offline, the party has had the opportunity to see those in a bit more detail. But do you guys want to briefly cover which ones you're taking for now and what you're doing with the others in the meantime?
Sure.
Yeah, Sequential is going to take the Analyzing Shield, which is a pretty cool. Sounds like transparent aluminum with some extra doodads to identify weaknesses as enemies. Gives bonus from intelligence, and Sequential's very intelligent, so that's going to help a lot. And the Mask of Machine Speaking.
Oh yeah, I didn't mention that one, but yeah.
So yeah, and I see a whole montage because it says, and it's right up their alley. You integrate it into the body, and then it creates permanent threads of silver and gold tracery visible on the skin, which occasionally pulses with light. But the important thing is being able to interact with machines, identify properties of ciphers, constructs, and machinery with a touch, and have empathy with machines, so get advantage on attack rolls and interactions with machines and constructs.
All right. So that one requires implanting and in a way that is permanent, question mark? Do you go ahead and do that?
100%.
All right. So yeah, Sequential now has these sort of filigree, light up filigree lines around his face and so on in ways that probably is less. I mean, you're already look like a robot, so less
now they've
noticeable on
got
you.
Tron traces.
Yeah.
Zaleen just walks up and is like, "We're twins now, except I'm the shadows and you're the light."
Well, and as soon as you have that, like I would imagine there's a not necessarily unpleasant, but certainly unfamiliar feeling, because like you implant it in one spot, but then you feel it extending these lines out through the rest of your body in a way that is very unusual, I would think. I don't think it's painful, but
yeah,
definitely
certainly be scary.
Yeah, does feel a little bit like, interior components are getting poked and prodded a little bit. But after it kind of finishes, you just feel like you have a little bit of like a parallel processing sort of function that's just kind of like, almost like you have just this extra little feature you can activate when you want. And when you look at all of the other of these like ciphers and relics that you found, because I indicated in the list I provided which ones are ciphers and relics, meaning they seem to have been produced with magical theory and machinery that is not really well understood. Like it's of a design that you're not accustomed to, as opposed to the standard 9 schools of magic, etc. But when you touch any of those now, you just know what they do. Like immediately, like as though you had cast Identify. But a standard magical item that uses, like normal D&D rules,
Right.
those it does not work for.
Very cool.
All right. So.
What'd you get, Zaleen?
I took the figurine of Wondrous Power, Silver Raven, the Staff of the Adder, and the Smoke Ink Pen. But I'm not sure how this snake works because I think it might have a secret word.
Oh, if you attune to it, you know the word.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to attune to it, but once you do, you can use it.
All right.
All right. So, what about Zinhorn?
I took a freezing drill spear, which, when I plunge it into one of my opponents, I can choose to activate the drill, which will drill in and do extra damage, and will then do freezing damage over time, every round continuing on. I also took the detonation of daggers, which is essentially a grenade, and the gloves of missile snaring.
Nice. All right. So there's a hand. Oh, what about Nedry? Didn't mean to skip you.
Not really anything. Although he'll grab onto the temporal viewer. It could be useful.
And certainly there are a number of unclaimed items that can be, held on to or whatever you would like. But then again, you have also, as part of this whole discussion, you had been talking about going to visit Sticky Zicky's Adventuring Emporium. And he does sell a limited inventory of magical items that does... Like, those come in and go out over time, so it's not like a set catalog. But because he does purchase and trade magical items as well, anything you have and don't care about could perhaps be exchanged for something you would like more. And I think Lynn doesn't take any of the items at the moment, but she wants to follow up on some of what she had learned about this song, and she says, if you can just get some studded leather armor big enough for Glink to wear, that will do for her for now, but she's gonna go run that errand and be back when she can.
Okay.
Sounds good. Yeah, this Trident of Fish command, I don't really see any of us taking advantage of. I don't even know who knows how to use a Trident. That seems
Anyone
like
who knows
specialized equipment.
Martial weapons can use it, but
Yeah, but
not I.
we have to swim, I would guess.
no, I mean, like,
Oh,
it is a magical trident.
Oh,
It
okay.
does. It also does fish command things.
Oh,
Right.
okay. So it will do magical damage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
we
have to
keep
be-
running into things that require magical damage.
but I don't think any of us are really martial weapon type wielders,
No.
are we?
Mm-mm.
No.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe we could sell it for something more useful.
Like a regular magic weapon that is a simple weapon that any one of us could use.
Right. Well, I can guarantee you, and this is a brief meta commentary thing, I can guarantee you, you are never in this campaign going to find something that is just a +1 longsword. Because that's boring. So, just so you know, you can adjust your expectations accordingly.
Okay.
And I believe Yobert said he could fence these other goods.
Yes.
That I don't really have need for a silk robe or a golden bird cage.
So, and
Well, we could put it in the bird room and
True,
put
although
our
they said
corpses
they
in
have-
there.
But yeah, it's now a morgue, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically turned into a morgue.
Yeah.
Well,
Although
they'll only let us
the
keep
body
one
that
dead
you
body
have
at a
in,
time.
yeah, the skeleton you have in there at present, though, I mean, you did get a name for, and further learned that they were an emissary of the Emperor from 85 years ago.
Right.
So, up to you to decide if you want to do anything about that. But
Oh, yeah.
Maybe like seek out relatives and be like, here's
Somebody
your
might have cared about
uncle.
them,
well, especially since I mean, you only had a few questions for them, but they did imply that, like, I think reading between the lines, it's not clear that Isilda intended to kill them. It was that he was, or rather, she was a prisoner, and then Isilda didn't come back.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What manner of being is the Emperor?
Human.
Human. So probably not the same Emperor that it was 85 years ago.
No, it's definitely not.
Okay.
Yeah, they probably grabbed him for questioning, and then she went into the Reclaimers Academy and wiped them out and got stuck there for 85 years, and he starved to death, which is a horrible way to go.
So you've got it is actually she, although you wouldn't necessarily have any way to know that. I mean, you got a first name, but it was a tiefling name, so you wouldn't necessarily know. But yeah, so kind of you currently have her skeleton still.
I wonder if the conspiracy died with the Reclaimers. If it was a conspiracy that the Emperor didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that at least some of the Reclaimers probably got away or weren't there at the time. Although they might have been hunted down. It wasn't the Emperor who went after them, though.
It was his soul.
Right.
The Silva.
I wonder what they know. They might be willing to tell us.
Well, you can't cast Speak with Dead on them again for, I think, a week after you've done it once.
No, I mean the family.
Oh.
They might be grateful, and we might find out more from them.
Sure.
I think if you're having this conversation with Yobert around, he'll say, it's true, but my only hesitation is that right now there are a lot of pieces of this mystery that we don't understand yet. And to have this body, we would have to explain how. And I'm not sure we're prepared to answer all of those questions yet.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's been 85 years. It's not like anybody's in a rush.
Right. And it's there's 10-day cooldown before I can do it again.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
this body.
if they're wealthy ambassadors, they can bring him back, right?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Although I think
Possibly.
it would be a rare and powerful person indeed that would merit that sort of expenditure. And it's also reliant on them wanting to return after all of this time. It may be that their soul has moved on.
Yeah.
True. Also, everyone that they know is gone.
Well, not necessarily. Lots of elves and dwarves and even gnomes live a lot longer than 85 years.
How long do tieflings live?
About human.
Oh,
They're about
they
like
last.
humans.
Yeah.
Okay. I will be right back. I'll move upstairs.
So,
Oh, the last thing on the loot table before I mentioned that Trine had given up the endless stomach thing. I think Sequential was going to go ahead and swallow it.
yeah.
We talked about the comical possibilities of their mouth.
Yeah. Well, I just like people looking at you like you'll put these things in there and it's just all the more like, where is it even going?
Well, now you have a stomach. And you
Right,
didn't
yeah.
before. Now you
Never
can
had
eat
one of
stuff.
those.
I wonder if. No, sorry, I was thinking of combining the two devices so that when you ate, it could go to Tanglefoot, so he could have food. But I don't know how to connect the two spaces yet.
Oh, that just reminds me, one thing that I wanted to mention to all of you is that some of these strange devices that you found that we're calling ciphers here, right now, they do seem to have, unlike a lot of the conventional magical items that you guys might have more experience with, that will sometimes have charges that just sort of automatically replenish. These seem to be a bit like that, except that they don't automatically replenish. Doesn't necessarily mean that there is no way to replenish them. You just don't know what it is. So that is theoretically something that could be discovered.
Since these do seem like magic of an entirely different case, I haven't studied all the forms of magic, but you have to learn a certain basic of them in order to really progress anywhere. I wonder if their source is this unusual Dinether, then we might want to be a little bit careful about using them in public. If there are people who are watching for signs of Dinether to, well, I guess, negate it, it might attract unwanted attention. On the other hand, it might attract a very large amount of wanted attention to draw them out.
It's a really good point. They're quite unique. So it's subtle until you really look at them.
Yobert says, I don't think I had fully appreciated that they were so unusual compared to other magical items. The magic was never my forte. I had assumed that their novelty would just make them more valuable, to either use or sell. But to be sure, if they're that distinctive.
Well, they're closer to the sort of things that Alistair was making, and the sort of stuff that Sorashana makes, too, to think about. Although hers tend to follow just esoteric theories more than alternative forms of magic, so far as I can tell.
She says she's like fiddling with one of them and has her mask down, but she just kind of, without really looking up, just says, there's substantial overlap.
Same world, after all. I mean, mostly. Well, same collection of worlds. Other dimensions always kind of mess that theory up. So, shall we go purchase necessary goods?
Yeah.
Yobert, the only thing that I really require is, there are some spells I'd like to research, but the costs for ink and paper and access to the spells can be a little bit expensive. So, if I could, I have a list. I've reduced it 4 times.
So the list, if you want to share it here, that's fine. But the list that we've discussed offline, Yobert kind of looks it over and go ahead and make an insight check, Nedry. I know that it's not necessarily your best skill, but
it is absolutely not my best skill.
Yeah.
It is surprisingly.
Oh
not
yeah,
my
but
worst.
you rolled high though, for 19. There is, you detect in Yobert as he looks over this list and, furrows his brow, purses his lips. That's an act. He doesn't know these spells. Like he knows, like he's heard of some of them, but like how worthwhile they are specifically. Like he doesn't. He's kind of. He knows some of those, but like, it's magic's not his thing. But he says, well, my understanding is that they have, scroll libraries at the library, and for this purpose. So, if this is the cost that you've itemized here, I think that those seem fitting, useful.
I will need a permission slip to go to the library.
Yes.
And someone will have to go with me.
I'll go with you.
Oh, good.
All right.
Oh, and there's a few costs for components and things like that. I need to make some of the spells work. I'll keep it to a minimum, though.
Before we go anywhere, I had a thought. Nedry and Zinhorn, you were in the sewers, right?
Yes.
The other day. So if we go to the train station and have a look around, maybe we can access what we need through the sewers. Rather than like causing a big stir and trying to dig up public ground and drawing a lot of attention to ourselves.
Is the train station on ground level?
It's a tall building. There are some tracks that are slightly elevated at the station, and some that are at ground level, and then some that are slightly underground. The tracks all eventually are at ground level, but it's just where you have that concourse with all of the trains coming and going. They have different levels just for, loading and unloading purposes and so on. So the station itself is multi-leveled.
There's probably an entrance there somewhere. The difficulty is navigating. I wasn't able to figure out what the symbols mean. Maybe if Tuga knows the way. Or his friends.
Or maybe they would recognize that symbol. Maybe they've seen it somewhere and they could point us in the right direction.
Did the symbols on the walls in the tunnels resemble at all the style of symbol that Tanglefoot showed us?
It doesn't seem to have any connection that you're able to see.
I'm not sure what language they are, or even if they just made them up themselves.
That symbol is represented in this half a journal. Right? Seems to be like one of the symbols of this encryption and all this type of magic uses.
Maybe because it's different, it would stand out to them. It, is something they'd be like, oh yeah, we've seen that. Because it's so different.
Well, if we can find them, we could certainly ask. There's also another possibility that raises sequential. I know you've been putting your substantial brain to the cipher, but you probably have someone here who actually knows it directly. But I don't know if we can trust Tanglefoot with it.
That didn't occur to me.
If it was part of the expedition, I'm pretty sure that he would have been part of it, or at least might know the code.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can figure it out.
No, it's definitely worth pursuing the next time we talk to him.
And this book we find might even be in the same code.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be great. I don't think we really need to travel like sewer-wise. I think we're okay to travel to the station where we look like honorary citizens that would use such a facility.
Yeah, I just mean like if the if it's inaccessible because of where he buried it, maybe we can enter the tunnels once we get there to access it from underground.
Yeah.
Well, there might also be some kids that grew up in the orphanage that work there that I can make contact with that will give us a tour. So
I don't have any way of finding it. I think you do, don't you, Zinhorn?
Here, roll a history check for me, Zinhorn. It's fine if you're not proficient.
Okay. History. I got a 10.
You don't know anyone off the top of your head that currently works at the train station. But.
Okay.
Do you think maybe if we could look at a map of how things were before?
Oh, we have that old map.
Well,
We could
that's a
line
map
it
of,
up.
Yeah.
That's a map of all of Psychamian, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big
Oh.
broad map that it's it's
A
like
continent map.
It's a
But-
continent map. I thought it was
Yeah.
a city map.
But
No.
the city planners would have a map of the area. The
Mhm.
curious problem is, well, the city tends to move around a bit, so I'm not sure how accurate their maps are actually going to be. Also, Tanglefoot mentioned it as the train, but there's a lot of trains that run out of that space. What we really have to do is find the oldest one.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. If we could find an old map
What?
from like 80, 85 years ago and line it up, because he told us specifically that it was at the end of the train rail.
Yeah, that would be a good thing to look for, like in the library or the city archives. But I wonder if there's like a historical society or somebody who gives tours, like historical tours
Yeah.
of the city, who might know which is the oldest train line in there, and that would help us out.
I think it makes sense that at least some of you know the city that well enough that like you would have been to this train station before. You know, there is an information desk there. You don't know that they would know everything, but that would be a reasonable place to start.
Yeah.
They might even
seems
have
like
a
something
map.
that could be on a plaque.
Yeah, they might even have a map, an old map in the train station on display.
Yeah, I think it's worth looking.
Mhm.
Also, just to slip back into this world and go meta for a while, when I was in Paris, you could tell which were the really old parts of the metro because
Yeah.
they were really old and run down compared to the new parts. Yeah, I mean, like it was distinct periods of time as you moved from one line to another. Like this was built, 100 years ago. This is brand new. That's from the 70s. So maybe there's a corollary here in our city. So do we want to go to Sticky Zickies first, or?
Oh, yeah.
Yobert says, I have already, as I mentioned, arranged for a line of credit there that should be sufficient for covering most mundane needs. I think for magic items there might need to be a little bit more discussion or negotiation there. Of course, if you have some items to trade in, I'm sure that that will get you some ways in that direction. Would you like me to tell him you're coming, or?
Yeah, sure. Also, Christiana, I want to make some holy water.
Okay.
Like
Washrooms down the hall.
Yeah. I will say that takes you like an hour to do, but that
Yeah.
when you have like, wherever you're staying, you have like a little shrine you've set up, and like when you are there, you can just make some.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not the same as if you were trying to do it like in the field, so to speak, but.
I think it's safe to say you've had an hour because I integrated the mask and Zaleen would have attuned to the staff.
Okay. So how much can I make in an hour? Is it like one or?
Let's say like 4 vials.
Okay. So everybody gets a vial of holy water.
Okay.
What's this for?
In case we run into things that can be damaged by holy water, like undead or, I don't know, lycanthropes.
Hmm.
Oh, lycanthropes are damageable.
Brennan says lycanthropes don't get hurt by holy water.
It's just vampires do.
Okay,
Right.
Vampires, undead. Definitely undead.
Mhm.
You think they take the train?
Thanks.
Look, every time we go someplace, we run into something that can only be hurt by magical weapons. Every single time.
I'll just slap them with this snake staff.
Okay, but now you have a vial of holy water, and there's more. There'll be more coming. I'll make more, but in case we run into undead,
All right. Thank you.
So the staff of the adder, it's called a staff, but like in my mind's eye, it's actually like walking stick size. So like I want to know, is Zaleen like using it like a walking stick?
Oh yeah, she's walking around like Lucius Malfoy with it.
Nice. Yeah, it's got a big, you know, hissing cobra head on the top of it.
Yep. And I decided that the code word is actually going to be in, that parcel tongue language.
Nice.
Sick him.
Yeah.
All right, so you're all heading to Sticky Zickies?
Yeah.
All right, so I don't recall if we had previously established the location, but it is actually just one tier up in the Skyport Tower. So basically, from the castle, you make your way across that sort of tier 3 platform back to the tower and head up the stairs to the next level. And on tier 4, there is a relatively large sort of like blocky structure that you can see that there's an entrance inside on the stairs, but that it extends out, the interior extends out onto the platform. And it's relatively big. And as you enter, you pass in between these two dramatically posed 10-foot tall suits of armor that are just kind of flanking the doorway in an impressive fashion. You look inside, and to briefly break the fourth wall, the image that I want you all to conjure here is fantasy REI. Does everyone know the REI store? It's a sporting goods store that sells like camping equipment and sporting goods and all that sort of thing. But the idea is that there's all sorts of adventuring gear, armor and weapons and rope and torches and backpacks and bedrolls and mess kits and all of that sort of thing that are all kind of like divided up into various sections, and then occasionally here and there in the store they have these illusory setups where it's like a frozen image of some kind of an adventurous scene, like in over by the swords they have a knight swiping through like a monster's neck, but it's like obviously an illusion, it's frozen in place. And there's also illusions here and there to make one area of the store seem a little bit like it's in a desert, and another one's a little bit like it's in a jungle, and another area is a little bit like it's in some kind of a dungeon. And there's a big rock climbing wall on one side. So as you are heading in there, you are just kind of taking in this initial sort of entryway, this main showroom, and you just have you're just looking around for a moment when all of a sudden you hear, "Greetings, are you the pocket protectors then? I've been told to expect you." And you look over,
That's us.
and you see a goblin in an immaculate magenta, like leisure suit sort of thing, like just broad lapels, like paisley silk shirt underneath, and just he's there looking very dignified. He's down there with a devil may care smile and one raised eyebrow on his goblin face, and he just says, "I am Sticky Zicky. Welcome to the Emporium."
This is quite a place.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Oh, and flips open his book and hands him. This is our card.
And he accepts it, and very nice. I approve of branding.
It was Carolina's idea.
Well, I hope to meet her at some point as well. I've been told that you have a line of credit here. We've established that for you on as a favor to Lord Relent. And obviously, here you can see that we have quite a few goods on display here in the main showroom. Feel free to browse any of these at your leisure. And if you're looking for any of these, you can just check out at the main counter, and the line of credit is already established there for you. If you're looking for anything a little more special, you're just going to need to ask for either me or Gleeg at the main counter. And he points to a female bugbear who looks young, and her fur's kind of little patchy and not quite fully grown in yet, but is standing behind the counter and says, "That's my niece. So we can help you if you're looking for anything a little bit more, out of the way." And we also take purchase, or we buy magical items and trade, that sort of thing. Anything you're looking for, we can probably help you out.
Okay. Now, one of our friends, Link, is an orc, and he is looking for a suit of studded leather armor.
No problem at all. We've got several varieties in a number of sizes just right down that way. And he points down, and there's just this, racks of various types of leather armor.
Yep. And also, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, that we wanted to sell this Trident of Fish Command.
So do you pull that out of like one of the bags or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll motion for Nedry to pull it out of the bag.
As you're obviously starting to pull something out of a bag of holding that's not like small, he'll just say, "Hold up, I am absolutely interested, but let's do this back in one of the private rooms."
Okay.
Sure.
All right. So we all go back to the private room.
I think we'll also make the assumption that Nedry has that bag of protection. I think before we said it was in the lab, but
Okay.
I think it's safe to say you'd keep it with you, right, Nedry?
I mean, that makes sense
the moment.
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so as you make your way, he leads you around in an area that there's a sign that says private transactions, employees and authorized personnel only. And as you're passing by, he just kind of nods over to the bugbear that he referred to as Gleeg. In any case, if anyone is not familiar with bugbears, they're basically like goblin-like features, but tall, like 7 feet tall, and sort of very lanky, gangly limbed, and covered with fur. And so he kind of just says, "Mind the store, Gleeg," and everyone make a perception check.
Wink.
Or you could do insight if that's better for you.
I got a 15.
I got
They're
an
the same for
18.
me.
Yeah, same. 10.
So I think, did you say 18, Zayling?
Yeah, because we're inside, so it's not at disadvantage, right?
Right, but it wouldn't be advantage.
No, but it rolls automatically with disadvantage because of being a drow.
Okay, but I'm looking at that first roll, and it says 15 and 18. But the
why did
15
it
is
roll?
the main one.
Yeah,
So
you're right.
she and I tied.
I don't know why it rolled twice for me.
Oh. Anyway, but a 15 is actually enough that I would say both Zaleen and Zinhorn pick up on a little bit of a vibe that doesn't feel sinister at all, but it's just a little bit of an unspoken interaction between Ziki and Gleeg, where it's a little bit like Gleeg is saying, "Are you going to?" And he's like, "No." But that's it. It's basically just like an eye contact. Like you're looking over at her while he talks to her, and there's just a little bit of like a, "Huh?" And then you're looking back at him. He's like,
Okay.
So as he leads you back into it's a pretty nice little room here. There's a bunch of chairs set out and like a big table with lots of space that you could set things out on, and then there's a couple of like there's a programmed illusion on one of the walls that is just cycling through different like pictures of various weapons and armors and wands and stuff like that. And so he, comes out and says, "So, you've got some items. Are you looking for cash, credit, trade?"
I think credit.
Yeah.
I suspect we're going to do a lot of business here.
I like to hear that. I pride myself on repeat customers. They don't call me Sticky Zicky for nothing.
Ah,
All right.
Why do they call you
that's
Sticky Zicky?
encouraging.
He looks at you and kind of just says, I because I pride myself on repeat customers. You
Because
shop at
people
Sticky Zicky in the sticks.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, that makes sense.
I
So
thought
we
it was
have this
'cause you had-
trident.
Never mind.
All right. So you pull out the trident of Fish Command.
Imagine Nedry pulls it out and then just sort of clunk because he can't hold it up.
Yeah, like it's this gnome and it's just going. Whoop, 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 whoop. And so he takes a look at it, and he says, "So I'm going to identify any of the magic items that you are preparing for here, but I can do them as a batch if you've got more, or is this all you want to part with at the moment?"
Well, there's some other non-magical things, but this is the only magic thing, I think.
I think maybe I wasn't clear about it, but I think that like non-magical art objects you wouldn't sell through here. You'd
Yeah.
Oh,
use
okay,
it.
okay.
Yubert can just do that for you.
Gotcha.
The only other item I know that we have in the inventory that we haven't touched is the Dagger of Blind Sight. When attuned, you have blind sight to 30 feet.
That would be pretty useful, though.
That would be really
useful.
useful for me who can't see in the dark.
Well, you guys have had that
Hey.
for a while in your pocket,
Yep.
not using it.
So that's
so up to you.
so
All right. Yeah, I guess I just never asked for it.
Well,
Do you have enough space for that?
What do you mean?
Does it require attunement?
I don't have anything attuned right
Dagger of Blind Sight does require it.
does yeah.
now. What do you guys
You get 3
want?
slots, so yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
What
the
about
gloves
the
are
ray
necessary
of
too,
numbing?
so.
Do we want to sell the ray of numbing, the ray emitter of numbing?
I can see us using that.
Yeah, that's something I think we'll use.
Yeah, I think these other things, I think we'll find a use for them.
Yeah.
So I think just the trident.
Okay. So he pulls out one of those little like jeweler's lenses, and looks at it for a while, kind of flashes. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. So this is we give magical items various tiers. This one would be this would be what we call an uncommon, and so I think. Starting offer, I could offer you, let's say, 400 gold.
2,000. No, wait. I don't know how to haggle. Oh, we really need Carolina here, don't we? I'm going to leave this to somebody else.
Well, if you want an in-store credit, I could probably go 500 for you. 400 is what I'd go give you cash.
Maybe we can think about it and look around at some of the other items you have on for sale.
Of course. Are you interested in purchasing some magic items as well? I mean, we have some common magic items, the less powerful ones, less pricey, out on the main show floor. But if you're looking for something a little more powerful, I can bring out whatever you'd like to look at here.
Were you still gonna look for a weapons in horn, or were you good with
No, I've
the
got
spear?
The spear.
Yeah, I wasn't looking for anything specific. I thought it would be a good idea if each of us, were to purchase one or two healing potions, but that's pretty common.
He
I
says,
didn't have
"Yeah,
any
we've got
specialty
those behind the
items.
counter, but you can buy those out on the show floor."
I didn't have any specialty needs.
Do you have I'm thinking about a cloak, but I'm not quite sure what kind. I don't know a lot about cloaks, but I'd like to look at some.
Well, so what sort of cloak are you envisioning here? Are you want to know what kinds might be available?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's funny you mentioned that, just because the jewel of my collection, so to speak, right now, probably not what you're looking for today. But just because I like showing it off, I've got a Cloak of Invisibility. But that's that one we're talking like tens of thousands of gold. I'm not sure that's what you're looking for today. But you mentioned cloaks. I don't have any other like powerful cloaks right now, but we have a number of fun cloaks out in the showroom. And let me pull up a list of those. Hang on. So out on the out in the main show floor, we've got cloaks that will do can look like any kind of cloak you want. For example, like, let's say you're going to a fancy party, you want a cloak that's going to go with the beautiful ball gown that you're wearing. This cloak can look like the cloak you would want to wear with that dress. Or you want to sneak into Thieves Guild, you want it to look like just some old ratty burlap cloak. It can look like that. At a whim, it can look like any kind of cloak you want, but only cloaks. We've also got a cloak that is actually a pretty good seller. We go through a lot of these. You know how when you envision yourself out on an adventure, you're standing there, like 1 foot up on a rock or something, or you're holding out your sword and your cloak's just billowing dramatically behind you in the wind. We've got a cloak that will just billow like that on command. No, doesn't need any wind at all. It just billows.
Okay.
But,
That's quite
if you're
fancy.
interested in something like a Cloak of Elven Kind, Cloak of Protection, like I don't have any in stock right now, but I could make some inquiries.
Yeah. How much would a cloak of elven kind run?
Let's see. Cloak of Elven Kind. Just realized my Ziki voice is getting a little bit too much like my Brennan voice and not like the Goblin voice. Let's see. Yeah, so, let's see. Yeah, I think I sell a standard Cloak of Elven Kind at 400 gold. But I've seen occasionally a kind that is made by dark elves it's the same price, but it's a little tricky because it's primarily they use it underground, and so if it were to spend too much time in direct sunlight, it eliminates the magic, but it's very fancy looking. And it just goes well with the dark elf aesthetic. Like the standard Cloak of Protection is a little more wood elf, if you follow me. Now, as long as you just pack it up when you're in the direct sunlight, or I don't know where you're planning to go, but you just figured I'd let you know that they have. I've sold both kinds here.
I would be interested at some point in the one for Dark Elves.
All right. Well, I can
So-
look into see if I can track one down, and if I find one for you, I'll let you all know through Yobert.
Thank you.
How about the rest of you? Looking for I've got I heard you mention healing. I've got a pretty fancy amulet here right now. I don't know how much all of you like to carouse, imbibe, and all that, but I've got an amulet of the Drunkard that lets you heal by drinking alcohol. How great is that? I mean,
That's
not for
pretty cool.
everybody.
That would, I mean, Carolina plays a lot of those tavern shows. That might be something good when we're with her.
Yeah, why don't you tell her about that?
Yeah.
And I've also got some invisible gloves that give you, a little extra help when you're trying to pick locks or use thief tools for, disarming traps or whatever. Those come in pretty handy. And as I mentioned, they're invisible gloves, meaning you wear them, you're wearing gloves, but it looks like you're not wearing gloves.
That's great.
Interesting.
I mean, I've got lots that, depending on what kind of you have in mind, but up to you.
You get any interesting magical rings?
Rings. You know what? As a matter of fact, I do have a ring of X-ray vision. Lets you look through solid matter, up to 30 feet.
That could come in handy, you guys. Like, especially,
Yeah,
today.
really relevant to our current interests.
Hmm.
Oh, well.
Can I?
Is that a...
Yeah.
Yeah, let me bring that out. And he leaves the room for a moment.
It's almost like
Wait,
he
are
knew
we not
were
supposed to say
coming.
things like that in front of a salesman?
I don't know. I never
Yeah.
bought things before.
Yeah, there is that, that sort of cartoon moment of just like, hey, that lines up exactly with what we need, and then there's just the no change of expression except one eyebrow just goes. Whoop. And it's just like,
This will be $6,000, you guys.
well, I'm laughing because that is actually how much it costs, or to start, not dollars but gold.
Right.
But yeah, he brings out a little lockbox, and then he opens it up, and you can see that there is a gold ring where it's got a big eyeball on it, not the whole sphere of it, but just where a gem would be. It's like an eye looking out, and it's sort of rimmed by little diamonds. And he says, with this ring, when you activate it for 1 minute, you can see through solid matter for up to 30 feet away. And you see it kind of you see layers that is kind of translucent, like when you've spotted an illusion. And so it will get blocked by lead. Really thick, dense stuff can block it. But it can penetrate up to a foot of solid stone, an inch of any metal butt lead, and up to 3 feet of wood or dirt. And
Sounds pretty amazing. How much is it?
Well, I can let this ring go for 6,000 gold. But before you react, let me also point out that it's unlike a lot of magic items where you're really just stuck and only once per day, and that's the only time you can use it. This one, you actually can try to use it a second time if it's an emergency, or even another one, but it tends to drain on you a little bit, so if you're not too hardy, you might end up feeling a little bit exhausted. But that's only if you want to use it a second time. It just gives you the option. Whereas a lot of magic items, you're just really stuck. You use it the once, that's it, no matter what. At least this one gives you an option to give it a try if you really need it.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, that's too much.
That's yeah. I mean, for something I don't think we'll use that often, that's way too much.
Are you guys
very
trying
nice.
to make want to make a haggle check?
Sure.
I mean, so here's a question. Is you guys just saying that's too much? Is this like I'm trying to talk the price down because I do want it, or is that like maybe not? Like really?
I mean, I'd be curious to see how low we can get him to go, but I mean, we really don't have a lot of credits.
For
Like,
Nedry, it's just simple math. It's
out
like
of game,
we're near that
like
number.
we don't have anywhere
Yeah,
near
we
that.
only have 1,000 on credit. We have no idea how much we'll sell.
Maybe
traded
400 store credit for
Or no,
the
right?
stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Or 5
Alright.
for credit.
Well, yeah. So if you guys are really kind of just feeling like, well, this, not today, then then we can we can move on. We don't have to try to do a roll to get you successfully negotiate him down to 4,000 and then still don't want it. Like that's not.
Yeah, there's no
Right.
way because like we don't have 4,000. So.
Well, not without
very nice.
selling something else,
Yeah.
All right. And he says, well, I can't promise that I'll hold on to it for you because, magic items, they come and they go around here. But, say the word. Maybe I put it on, maybe I lose it on a back shelf for a little while.
We're okay.
All right. Well, keep it in mind
Thanks,
for later. Or, if you just change your mind, that's fine too. But otherwise, are you looking for something a little more affordable? I've got a nice instrument of the bards available. It's a nice lute that can play some, can help you cast a few spells if you're, of the bardish type. I don't know the speed you guys all run at, but I've also
We
got...
definitely got to tell Carolina about this place. I think she'd love it.
We've also got, if you've ever felt like you're in a dungeon, you need more water, I've got a decanter of endless water. Now, technically, it's not literally endless, but it's a lot. Let me pulling up the stats here. So, in a pinch, you can open it up. There we go. So, he pulls up just like a picture, the illusory picture of it on the wall, and it's just like looks kind of like a fancy water skin. So what you can do is you can open the stopper and you can tell it, I want a stream, and it'll produce 1 gallon of water. You want a fountain? Get 5 gallons of water. If you say geyser, it's going to spray out 30 gallons of water like a big old, just like a water cannon.
How much would something like that cost?
That one I think I could let go for 500 gold.
Oh. Maybe later.
Fair enough. This is not one of those with charges at all. You could use this every turn if you wanted. I mean, what are turns, right? But, over and over is my point.
You could blast somebody pretty good with 30 gallons of water.
Trade it for the trident.
Yeah, if you really like it, Nedry, we could trade the trident for it.
No, the stuff that I need is already pretty expensive, so I don't want to cost any more.
Would you... Is it something that you would use?
What, the jug?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it could come in handy.
Well, of course. I mean, we can use almost anything, except maybe the trident. But
Yeah.
it's not something I have an immediate need for. If we find ourselves traveling through a desert, that'll be something important then, especially.
Yeah.
And maybe out to sea. I don't think you can drink seawater.
Or get trapped in a pocket dimension
Yeah.
Yeah.
with limited resources.
Mhm.
That seems like a danger we could come into.
Well, I can always create food and water.
Oh, nice.
That's a cantrip, right? Or is that a
I
spell?
I think it's a spell.
I believe it's a
Yeah.
first level spell.
Low level.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that would save you too from having to expend a spell slot if we had something like that, especially if we were in a place like a desert or out to sea.
It's good to know that it's here. If we find ourselves planning for something like a desert or a sea, we could pick it up later.
Or a pocket dimension.
I don't know if we plan for those, but
Right. Okay.
All right.
Well, let me
I'm
tell you
definitely.
this. How about you take this decanter of water, and I give you one of the cloaks of billowing on the house.
Oh man, come on, Nedry.
no, I don't need a cloak.
I like cloaks. It'll be so cool. Billowing in the non-existent wind.
If you want to buy it, I'm not going to say no. I can't afford it.
But we're gonna trade the stuff. So
If
we
you
can
want.
all afford it.
You also remember
I'm
having
good with that.
You have a 1,000 gold credit line already
Right.
too. So
I'm already costing Yobir a lot today, so
you guys do what you want. I'm just letting you know what's available.
I think it would be a good idea.
I'm not
Yeah, I
going to
think it would be a good trade for the Trident if
Yeah.
Zicky's amenable.
Okay. I'm good with that. Let's do it.
Okay. Would you be interested in trading us for the trident?
Well, as I had said, I think, I guess I did say 500 in store credit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. That's a deal. We'll take the trident and you get the decanter of endless water and the cloak of billowing.
Okay.
All right.
I'm putting
Anything
that
else you're
cloak
looking
on.
And,
for, magically
Maybe
speaking,
what's
or
yeah. No, yeah, just like some healing potions. I think one each.
Yeah,
standard?
just in
each.
case.
5
I need-
each.
All I really need are components, but they're a little expensive. So
Well,
Mm.
if Zinhorn gets knocked unconscious, we should all have a way to revive him.
Well,
I mean,
so
anything
probably
could
a good
happen.
idea.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead. 5 healing potions, one
Alright.
for our friend in case she shows back up, and
Sure.
Nedry's got a list of components he needs.
Yeah. So standard healing potions are 50 gold apiece. And then as far as spell components, they sell a variety of the common spell components. Any of them that say they would have a cost will cost that much.
yeah, I assume he had the ones for the stuff already, but
I do need powdered incense and diamond and some powdered gold dust. About 250 gold worth total.
Okay. All right. So as long as you, so we're let me make sure we're tracking. So the trident is being traded straight up for the cloak and the decanter, and then so 250 for 5 potions. 250 of components for Nedry.
I'm putting Carolina's healing potion in the spreadsheet. I'm guessing everybody else can put theirs on their character
All
sheets.
right. So the studded leather is only 45 gold. What else? I think while you're out in picking up the stuff in the main showroom, you'll spot a fun little display that seems to have just a bunch of fancy little coins in it with a big sign that says "Coin of Delving," and you realize that this is basically, it's just a looks very similar to a standard copper piece, but it's just a little extra shiny, and it has, like, the display has a little area where you can sort of stick it into a box where it's, you know, shadowed from all the lights, and you see that it glows in the dark. It technically gives off dim light in a 5-foot radius, and what it also does is, if it's dropped a distance greater than 5 feet, when it hits, it makes like a resounding sound, and it's like, for, you know, how far down is that hole? You know, so you drop it in there, and when it lands, it goes boing, and glows, so you can see.
That's really cool. That could be useful.
Mm-hmm.
Those are 10 gold a piece.
Can we get one of those? I want one of those. All right, no one's saying anything, so we're getting one.
Yeah, I think we should get one. Definitely.
Silence is consent.
The healing potions are just basic potion, right?
Yeah, the standard ones are 50 gold. The next state level up, I think, is 250. I can double check that, but
Okay, I just want to make sure they were just like basic potion healing.
yeah, 2d4 plus 2 is what the 50 gold potion does.
Okay.
Zenhorn already has one, I think.
Now he's got 2.
All right. Well, so basically, you've got 555, being spent, essentially, of your current line of credit. All right. So I think Zicky bids you, lets you go wander the showroom at your leisure rather than attend you at all that time. But, certainly lets you know that you can just contact him if you have any more questions, interested in anything else. They make the exchange so you can take the decanter of endless water and the cloak of billowing, whoever's going to have that.
Oh, I'm wearing that.
Oh, sure.
I already put it on.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Then, sure enough, yeah, it's kind of like just a standard nice cloak, but just while wearing it, you just realize, just by willing it, it'll just go.
Watch, guys.
I like that.
It looked too fancy for me, but you look good in it.
Thank you.
I think
want
without
to-
realizing it, you're watching her with the billowing cloak, and she didn't realize that she's standing right in front of one of these illusory displays where it's a guy in a billowing cloak.
Do you want to put the decanter in the bag?
Sure.
Pop
it into the bag.
So when you're going to check out, it is this bugbear at the register, and she's doing all of the business like stuff of, she double checks your line of credit and makes the adjustments, adding everything up, asks if you want a bag, but you guys have your own, of course, but then kind of looks back and forth like she's looking around, and then just says, "So did Zicky tell you about the special offer?"
I don't believe so.
I don't remember hearing that.
Well, we've got a brand new experimental line of branded adventuring gear, and if you're looking for an affordable magic weapon, we have a special one that gives you that extra powerful bonus of helps you hit a little bit, and can damage things that are that shrug off normal weapons, and it's just it just tells everyone that you got it here. It's something I've been trying out myself.
What do you mean it tells everyone that we got it here?
Like vocally?
So she says, "Well, I have to bring it out in the other room."
Okay.
So she guides you along back, and she's trying to, you watch her. Seems like she's trying to be like she's trying to avoid Zicky seeing her lead you back there, but I don't think she's successful because unless you guys are assisting by trying to also act stealthy yourselves.
Nope.
Yeah, there's a moment where Zicky definitely sees you and just kind of waves and smiles. But so you go back, and so she brings out and says, "Now this is Sticky Zicky's Great Club," and pulls out. I'm once again to briefly break the fourth wall. It's a baseball bat.
Okay.
But along the side of it is a big, like a big sign that says Sticky Zicky's Adventuring Emporium on it. And she says, "Now, just sitting there like this, it's just an ordinary Great Club. But watch." And she picks it up and sort of hefts it and says, "Sticky Zicky's has the best prices around." And all of a sudden the logo goes whoosh, and it like lights up and starts flashing and playing a little bit of music. He says, "Now it really packs a wallop." And you don't have to say that exactly. You just have to say something nice about the store.
How much of a wallop does it pack?
It would be the equivalent of a +1 Great Club. But it's also a versatile Great Club, meaning you can do it one-handed or two-handed.
Zinhorn, you were looking for a magical weapon.
Well, I got a magical weapon. I got two of them that I didn't know we had. Yeah, and I don't use a club right now, but it seems like we often want to be quiet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that kind of
Haven't-
breaks
true.
our rules, but that's a pretty clever
I'm sure the
design.
Trina would love it. We can
She,
mention it to her when we see her again.
So she was looking really sad and kind of deflated up until that part. And she's just like, "Yeah? Well, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you tell her,
China would
come
love
in,
it.
check it out. We're like I said, this is sort of like product testing. We're trying to see how much demand there might be for something like this. But,
Did you make it?
well, yeah. But like,
That's pretty amazing.
But it's good. I guarantee it. If it fails, full refund.
That's some pretty impressive magic, actually.
Yeah. How much are you charging for them?
Well, because obviously, there's it's in our interest to have the good word of Sticky Zickies be spread out in the world. It is discounted compared to what it would be, so it's actually only 150 gold.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's-
we'll have to
yeah.
tell Trina about that when she gets back.
Yeah. We'll
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, she's trying
Tell her
to
about
not
it.
look disappointed. She clearly
That seems like a great deal, and it looks like a quality product.
yeah, and I could definitely see some situations where I might want to use it. It's just recently we've needed to be quiet, and
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
make persuasion rolls to have that sound
I
sincere.
I want her to feel better about this
Well,
product because I think it's cool.
I know, I believe you, but it's a question of like, you can say all the nice things you want, but you're not buying it.
16.
Right?
Okay. Yeah, she seems like okay. She has some hope left when you mentioned it. Like maybe another time, just not now. Maybe our friend would want it.
Do you have to like say it really loud?
Well, it has to be loud enough that it could be heard from like about 30 feet away.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in the middle of battle that would be okay. I mean, you wouldn't have to be yelling out loud.
Well, and you don't have to do it like every time you want to swing it. It lasts for a whole minute.
It's a good point. If you're
once you
already in the
activated
heat of
it,
battle,
yeah,
you're
it
probably
wouldn't matter
making a lot of
about being
noise.
quiet. Yeah, and it's not like the bat itself just, is it pretty reliable? It doesn't just go off.
Well, I mean, if it would only go off if you were saying nice things about the store. So I suppose
Right.
it depends on how often you would be doing that.
Yeah. I think it might be a good investment, you guys.
Doesn't require attunement.
And, it could really come in handy.
The
You never
chat
know.
wants you to get it.
I don't really use melee weapons at all, so but
I think I can only
yeah,
do
if you could use it,
one-handed,
absolutely.
But I mean,
I
it
know.
would be good to have for like Trina too when she comes back.
Yeah, I mean, I can use it too.
Yeah, like we can just trade it off.
Yep.
Yeah,
And-
I'll tell you what, we'll take one.
How bright does the logo glow? Because that might, like, if we're in a place where we need light, that might come in handy.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
idea.
it's not super bright. Like it's because it's designed to light up the logo in a colorful way. You think that if it was like if you were in complete darkness, you might get like a 5-foot radius with it, but not much
Okay.
more than that. It's not designed for that. It's
We'll
designed
couple
to
it
be
with that
like
coin.
well, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying it's designed to look cool, not to shed light on the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah. She is thrilled to sell it, and there's an aura of vindication. So as she hands it over to you, and you come back out of the room, Ziki is standing there with a little bit of like, but she got a big smile, and he's like, all right.
Mostly I just did it because, she's so cute.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And she's trying something new.
yeah. If we don't believe in her dreams, who else will?
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, so I don't have that one prepared in D&D Beyond yet, but like it's basically you could treat it like a +1 Great Club for now,
Okay.
but with the consideration that we talked about, and also it's versatile, meaning you can wield it one-handed or two-handed. So it would be a 1d8 or 1d10 depending on which you're doing.
Okay.
For damage. Yeah, because I'm just thinking a baseball bat, like, two-handed,
Mhm.
or you could hit someone
Yeah.
one-handed with a baseball bat for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ah. And it's just got Sticky Zicky's Adventuring Emporium plastered along
Yeah.
one side.
We're going to go back and Yo Bear's going to be like, this is what you spent my money on? What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, she's never shopped before. Look at her billowing cloak. Look at it.
Yeah. 150 is what I said, right?
Yes,
Yep.
150.
Okay. All right, so that's a total of 705 gold.
Cool.
All right.
Do you sell picks for stone?
Yeah, they definitely do. Just like they sell stone carving tools generally, but also just like mining picks.
We might need something like that. Maybe not at the moment, but we can come back reliably and get them.
Yeah.
Well, they
So we
have them.
Okay.
What I would say is just as a general rule, anything that's in the like in the equipment section of the handbook, you can just assume they'll have for the price listed.
Okay. All right. So are we ready to go to the train station?
Yeah.
Yay.
All right. I will be right back.
Okay.
While we're going, my cloak is billowing the whole time. I just keep taking bonus actions and making it billow.
Nice.
Yeah. On the way, Nedru will explain what Zalian has let herself in for. It's going to take an entire day and a half to do the conversion of the spells into my spell book. So, thanks for coming with me to the library, though.
That's okay. I can look at things in the library and learn things. There are a lot of things I don't know.
Just be careful. They get a little bit particular sometimes about some of the books.
Okay.
So I think your cloak, once you're outside with it, and there's occasional gusts of actual wind, you discover that the magic billowing kind of fights with the real wind occasionally.
Of course it does. That's
Yeah, so
awesome.
it just kind of like occasionally you'll find it sort of jerking around on your neck a little bit because the real wind is trying to do it one direction and it's trying to billow the other way. So nothing to like knock you over or anything like that, but you notice.
This cloak is great, you guys.
Very nice. So
Baby's first cloak.
you're all going to the train station now, or we're
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
library trip is for later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, you all head into the old town, old part of the city, where the main train station is, and I will put you on. So if you are not logged into Roll20, I am going to put you on a map now. So,
Cool.
All right.
so
The site loaded.
all right. So let's put you on here. And this is another map from the Zay and Peku Patreon that does a lot of great maps. A lot of them that I use on this because they're amazing. And let's put you on the map here in Roll20 here.
There it goes.
So,
Nice.
yeah, you guys are all kind of up near the top here. But as you enter in this great big, fancy ornate building, is just this big cavernous, room that's very crowded. You can look around. There's little shops, a whole little concourse. You can see that there's an information desk there, kind of in the center of this big, like functional mechanical clock built into the floor. And then, on the far side, there's the, like the train, like schedule and, all the listings of the times and everything like that. And then the various openings to either side that go to the various platforms. And, it's a very high ceiling, something like 80 feet up. You can see kind of the girders that are above the actual vaulted ceilings.
I'm not sure why, but on my page the map is like all blurry.
It might just be.
It was for me, and
taking its
it
time
took
to
a
load.
second, and then
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe it's just downloading, maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Might just be
Or-
taking a little time to load.
And I also clicked my zoom in out, and then it seemed to wake
Yeah,
up.
I just did that and it seemed to help. I like refreshed and everything and it was
Okay.
still the same, but now it's okay.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, you've just entered this magnificent, fancy train concourse, and you look around, and there are a lot of people kind of doing their normal day-to-day train station stuff. It's kind of busy and bustling. There's people at shops eating at little cafes, waiting in line to buy tickets, etc.
Just like scanning around when we first walk in, is there any artwork or anything on the walls that looks like it might be historical?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like mosaics on the wall, and you can see that we've got kind of I don't know architecture well enough to describe what school of architecture this place is, but there's definitely pieces of artwork here and there. Were you looking for something that you were hoping would be like, this is the oldest part of the station, or?
No, just maybe like a historical map, sort of like our post office has stuff like that in it because
Okay.
we live
Yeah,
in like
I
a
mean, make a perception check.
okay.
Okay, 22. That's pretty good. So I think as you are looking around, you see that like along the far side, past the information desk, kind of in the corner near where like the schedule thing is, there's this little bulletin board looking thing right there that does seem to have kind of like, a sort of, as the station was constructed, the history of the location and that sort of thing, sort of a placard.
Okay.
Ooh.
point that out to everybody.
Let's go over there and take a look at it.
Okay.
So, if you guys want to move your tokens, you can, or I can move them for you, however you would like. I like putting you on the actual map, even if we're not like in combat, just because it's such a cool map. It gives you a visual of the, you've got for those of you who are only in audio, this is a like beautiful like gilded marble floors, very fancy, old school train station sort of place here. And so as you gradually make your way across, you can feel as you move across this big clock in the floor, there's you can sort of feel the gears sort of vibrating a little bit as they turn, and making your way across there. So all the way down at that lower corner, there is like I said, this sort of history plaque that has some like engravings of, breaking ground, first lightning rail train in Pashan, various, that sort of history information.
So, like bottom right.
Yeah. So, but, as you're moving through, there's various little like gift shops and restaurants and little newsstands and that sort of thing. And
They might even have something like that in one of the gift shops.
I think as
Nedry's
you
kind of
pass,
distracted looking at the big giant clockwork clock in the floor.
I think also you pass the information stand, which is at the center of the clock, and it's like a kiosk and it had a red dragonborn woman inside, and there's like lots of like brochures and stuff on the desk there too.
Okay. So, is there anything, like as we're looking over the thing on the wall here, is there anything that might be useful in helping us find what we're looking for?
Yeah, you definitely looking through there see, just a little bit of the history of like the invention of the lightning rail, and I think that there's a little bit of, so here's a question. Those of you reading it can make a history check to just compare like what you already know versus this.
History. 19.
Getting some good. So as far as like the invention of the the invention of the lightning rail as a magical technology in this world, you notice that in here there seems to be a section that is taking a little too much credit for that, meaning like the lightning rail was not invented in Pashan, but they, they're saying like, the inventor of the lightning rail once traveled through Pashan on his way to the place where he would eventually come up with the idea, and who knows if maybe it was the inspiration of seeing our beautiful city that, like that sort of stuff, where they're trying to kind of claim it more than is probably justified. But you definitely discover that the sort of the original platform has been renovated a couple of times, but that currently platforms 1, 2, and 3 are housed in the oldest part of the structure, and that that is where like the oldest, like the original station was before they built the bigger rest of it.
Okay.
So there's 15 total like platforms where you can catch various trains that are on on schedule. But yeah, it's the building that has platforms 1, 2, and 3 that.
They're still publicly accessible?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
you're. So the way the station works here is that there's not like, you don't have to pass through a gate or security like to board the trains. You're expected to present the ticket when you get on the train, but it's not really, there's not a security that's enforced prior to that point. So yeah, you can just go down to the platforms.
Okay. Do we want to go back to the kiosk there and look at the pamphlets?
Yeah, sure. While we're here, we might as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
Maybe pick up
Yeah.
Nedry. Oh,
Yeah.
Nedry did join us.
Yeah. So as you approach, this dragonborn woman turns to you and just says, you know, welcome to the Pashan Central Station. I am Skara. I would be happy to help you with any information queries you may have today.
Good afternoon. We are looking for any information you might have on the original lightning rail line and the original station. We were hoping you might have some books or pamphlets.
Ah, well, as a matter we do. And you know, I must say, it's quite refreshing. And she's saying this as she like reaches down and grabs not one of the flyers that you see on the top, but she pulls out what looks like a little, um, like almost like a magazine style guidebook thing. You know, like it's maybe 35 pages and but big and sort of flimsy paper. And she pulls that out and just says, it's most of the sorts of questions I get are, how do I reach this platform, or when is this or that train running, when all of that information is of course behind me, but on the board. But I so rarely encounter people who are actually interested in the history of our beautiful station. And she's handing that over. As you may have guessed, the oldest part of the station is in that direction. She gestures kind of to the northeast, one of the platforms. And you look over there, you can see that it has a sign that says, platforms 1 through 3. It's like that is where the original station was founded. And it is, of course, one of the lowest levels of tracks because everything else was sort of built up around it. And it was actually only 40 years ago that we constructed the big, beautiful concourse you see here today. But every part of the station has been renovated since in order to aesthetically match the grandeur that a city like Pashan deserves.
That is awesome. This whole place is awesome. I love the clock in the floor. You must have just a wonderful time working here and being among all of this grandeur.
I do love it. It is startling every time that the clock chimes. You'd think I would get used to it, but I don't catch me complaining here. I'm not. I'm just. It's a wonder of if you are into people watching, there's no place better.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Of course. And so she offers you can keep the little magazine brochure that she gave you, and if you kind of flip through it, there are some like sketches of like showing the first lightning rail panels sort of being laid in like one of the earliest designs of the lightning rail engine. And everyone should just be envisioning steampunk trains if you're not already. That's what we're talking about, except it's magic electricity rather than steam. But that's kind of what's shown on here. And you can see that the caption on one of them says that the very first lightning rail track, which was eventually renovated to track number 2. So you learn from this little pamphlet that track 2 is the one that was like the first one.
Okay. So I guess we'll casually wander down to track number 2.
All right. So I'm going to move you on the map to that platform screen. Once again, you go off to that platform and you're starting at the top of this map, but at the top left. But once again, you emerge onto this beautiful marble stairway. There's the triple unicorn-headed like statuary built into the wall above. There's some stained glass windows and mosaic, and you descend some stairs to see where there's 3 different, numbered platforms. Currently, no trains on them, but you can see the lightning rails for tracks 1, 2, and 3. And lots of people standing around waiting for their trains or whatever.
Not crucial, but I don't have control of a token, so you can move them around. We can pan.
Oh,
Yeah, I guess
interesting.
we'll
Hang
head to
on.
the.
I think I put your tokens on the wrong layer. So hang on. Let me fix that. Yeah, that's what happened.
They may all be on the wrong layer.
Yeah, I know. That's what
Oh,
I'm fixing
okay.
right now. But thank you. Yeah, that is what I'm doing. Yeah, they were on the wrong layer. So you should have it now.
I'm walking down the stairs. My cloak billowing. Hitting people in the
Wow.
face.
Yeah, no, you definitely you get some looks of like, ooh, yeah, oh, dramatic, and then a couple of like,
Yeah.
Is there any reason that Nedry knows that they would have a triple-headed unicorn there?
Not just because it's on the map, that's for sure. No, I think it's iconography of Pashan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was an icon. There was a
Yeah.
unicorn around the clock in the floor
Yeah.
in the main hall as well.
Yeah.
Infamous Hydracorn.
Yeah, I mean, we could get into it if you wanted to study it, but I would just say that like Pashan as like a city and as the the Tashmina Empire like has just unicorn iconography to it.
Okay.
These unicorns are cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as you guys are coming down to look down at that platform, what you're seeing is that you have, of course, this fine but somewhat worn but still polished marble floor, and then at where the track is, it drops down. And there's some gravel beneath, and it's basically metal framing, and then these glowing blue panels are sort of crackling with magic energy, and there's some signs here and there that says, do not touch the lightning rail tracks. So the base around the track is about 3 feet below the level of the marble floor, but then the tracks themselves elevate about a foot up from that. And then you can see that the very end of it has kind of a complicated structure on it that's designed, it's kind of a bumper when a train were to arrive.
I'm feeling really compelled to touch the track.
Right?
I'm resisting.
Is there a curse on the track? Must touch.
I think as you guys are, as you are kind of all standing there, kind of showing slightly more than usual interest, peering down at it, you are approached by an aging, sort of big-bellied dwarf in a station uniform, and he's got like a security badge on him. But he approaches with like a gentle smile and just says, "Can I help you folks with something?"
We were told that this was the original lightning rail track, that it's the oldest in the whole train station, and we just kind of wanted to get a real close look at it,
All right,
from a historical perspective.
Sure. Just make sure you're not touching it because it's dangerous. But yeah, this is the oldest part of the station. Although, honestly, I kind of wish they had kept it the way it was before. I think the history is more preserved when you keep it the way it looks originally. But they built the new part, they renovated this part to match that part. It's, so I guess it looks nice for people who never saw it the way it was before. But I kind of miss it.
Yeah,
Did
I
it-
mean... Go ahead.
Okay. And did it structurally change, or is it just this facade or these tiles? Or
Oh no, the tracks are the same. They kept those in place. It's mostly just like all of the wall features. The big unicorns up there. The marble floor and all the tiling here. Like a lot of that. It's all super cosmetic. Superficial.
So, like you say, superficial. Is there like something underneath it?
Well, no, I just mean like they didn't tear down walls and dig up.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, they took down the old features, and like before they had like wood paneling here and there, gave it kind of a rustic feel, I thought. But people keep telling me I'm a dwarf. I should like it to be all stone and metal, but I don't know. I kind of liked it kind of had a I don't know, cozy feel to it, even in such a big space. But now it's like it's pretty, but it's a little it's like austere, like it makes everyone feel small in it, which I guess is kind of the point. But I don't know. I felt like before it felt a little more homey.
Is there any way you can get a feel for that old? Like, are there some maintenance tunnels or something that?
Well, I mean, we don't really let passengers down there. It's not really safe,
Sure.
and like obviously we've got to make sure people aren't getting up to no good down there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He
So,
tinkers with things, so that kind of thing piques his curiosity.
Yeah. He builds a lot
You
of
paint
stuff.
such a vivid picture. I would love to experience it.
Ah. Well, I mean, it's really just like maintenance stuff down there, and like I mean it's not really like under the tracks. It's really just kind of, I mean, you can see it stylistically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That would be something.
That would be something to see. I mean, it's not something everybody gets to see unless you work here.
I imagine that
Yeah,
would
I guess we're
probably-
weird. I guess we're weird. We've got,
Well,
no,
hey,
that would be.
like I'm on duty right now, like, so I got to stay here. But I like the look of you all, and I like to take interest in people who take interest in the things that I take interest in. If you follow me. So I don't know if you guys want to stick around until like after 4. I can maybe guide you through some of those maintenance areas.
Oh, that's so generous. That would be amazing.
That would be
That would be
amazing.
great.
All right. So I think it's probably like mid-afternoon, so you guys would probably have a couple of hours until then.
I'd
So
say
we
we
could
could
look
go to the
around.
library, but
Yeah.
I think we're going to be there longer than a couple of hours.
Yeah, definitely. that's
So-
a
It is so the part that we're standing on is elevated above the ground, and the tracks are slightly elevated above the ground.
Yeah, well, and so when we say ground too, this is not like bare earth. It's like there's gravel laid out underneath it, but
Well, I'm like, if I had to guess, I would say that we're pretty much standing on top of where we want to be, and that it. So if I move, like over here, and look back at Zaleen and Nedry, can I see underneath?
oh yeah, it's not hollow there. It's like it goes straight down from where you can see. There's not an opening or anything.
Okay.
Did the dwarf go back to work and just sort of leave us here, or?
I mean, kind of like you get the feeling that he's got his spot where he stands and just watches, and if there's no trouble, then that's all he does. That's
how conspicuous is your?
he has a vibe of retired adventurer.
Yeah.
He does this to get him out, get himself out of the house.
Zinhorn, didn't you have a a way to sort of see if we could detect what we're looking for? I know we can't detect the actual book because it was guarded against that, but
Didn't you just get the X-ray?
That was
no,
too
we did
expensive.
not because it was like
Oh, we did.
6,000 gold.
Oh, that was the 6,000. Okay,
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
confused. Okay, right on.
Yeah. I don't know what I would have that would allow me to see.
Oh, I thought you said you had like a detect.
We talked about locate object.
Yeah, locate object.
Oh, okay. I would probably have to learn that.
No,
Oh.
you just okay. You just prepare it. It's a cleric spell.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't have it today.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
okay.
I was gonna say like we talked about that last week, so I mean, you could have prepared that before
Okay.
when we got up for the day.
Yeah, because that was my understanding was the plan. That was that you were gonna do that. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Then I will take off Speak with Dead and put on Locate Object.
Are there before he does that? Does it look like there are people around whose job it is to detect people using magic?
I mean, make a perception check. I mean, you don't spot anything. Like, I mean, the only thing you really see in the way of security is this dwarf who introduced himself as Rushtick.
Yeah, I guess maybe one of us could keep him engaged in conversation. And
Yeah. Well, I mean, you
yeah,
really,
I'll
like
I
with
can go
your
ask him some
interest in
train
mechanical
questions.
stuff.
Mhm.
You guys want to poke around? Yeah, I'll go try to distract him.
Okay. So,
So-
give me your line of discussion and a persuasion roll if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's see. I want to lead him away from the tracks.
Okay.
Let's see. Although he doesn't necessarily like the unicorn things, so yeah, I'm going to try to kind of lead him towards like the basically the stairs, I guess.
Sure.
I'm fascinated in the architecture, and I know you said a lot of this was facade. Is these structures? Would this be all original?
Yeah, and I think he starts.
Or what are the
going
differences?
Into, like originally, the stairs were in the same place, but it was all just iron and steel before, and he starts going into that. But go ahead and make a persuasion check.
Persuasion, yeah, not my best, but
Yeah.
15.
I don't know. Is deception better?
No, my charisma is a -1, so I
Okay.
don't think you have.
So,
No,
but
nothing. They're both
15 is
-1.
not bad. Yeah, like
But, yeah.
you're certainly he's on duty, which means watch out for trouble in this room. But
Mhm.
like wandering around to talk to someone who's interesting still in the room and not leaving. I'm not sure. That's
Mhm.
fine. Yeah, so he seems to
I'm
follow
trying to
you
pick
over
up
there.
on what
Yeah.
he wants to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I will also kind of move over and stand a little bit in front of Zinhorn too,
Okay.
and like my cloak will billow.
Alright. You're
Inconspicuous.
billowing so that the billowing cloak provides cover of someone.
Kinda, yeah. Yeah.
All right.
But it's been doing it the whole time, so it's kind of inconspicuous. It's not like it's anything new.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great thing to hide behind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because a billowing cloak inside is not conspicuous at all.
Well, it'll draw attention to her, not to me.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just laughing at the idea as well. So, yeah, you've got, you've got the security guard distracted. You don't see any other sort of signs of security at the moment.
Then I'm going to cast the spell.
Okay, so you are focusing on the,
The-
what you were told is that there is a block of stone engraved with a certain symbol. And so that's what
Right.
you're focusing on for this spell. And then sure enough, you discover that it is basically directly under this, like, sort of the end of this track. And you don't have like a precise, it's not like it pings like my little circle on the map exactly, but because you get to realize that, like, as you hold it up, you are close enough that you can sort of just walk around a little bit and triangulate it, and what you gather is that it is essentially about 6 feet underneath where the end of this track is.
Okay. Okay. I will move back over to the rest of my party. There we go. Hey. Whoa. Hey, cat. No claws. Sorry.
So were you guys were trying to do that, like, you're trying to avoid the security guard seeing it, but were you, like, being stealthy otherwise? Because there's a lot of people in here.
I was looking around to make sure nobody was looking at me.
Okay.
Nobody was taking interest in me.
All right. Well, make
But-
a stealth check for me.
Does he get advantage because of my awesome billowing cloak?
Sure. Yeah, you're being aided. Yeah, you can. Well,
All right.
I think you would normally have disadvantage, so I think
Correct.
it's a great roll. Yeah.
That'll just cancel it out. So the first roll, natural 20.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, you think that not only was the security guard distracted, but you managed to time it in such a way and be casual enough that even none of the other people hanging out in this room seems to notice.
Cool. All right. So that big metal bumper thing with the shiny, deadly lightning rail panel.
Mhm.
It's about 6 foot underneath that we need to get to.
By the way, at about this time, a train does arrive on this track. Let me,
Cool.
look at that. Boom.
Woo! That's fancy.
Yeah. Got a fancy map that has a train that shows up on that track.
That's cool.
So we know that the guard here is going to be busy until at least 4. We know we have a couple hours. We want to try to find that maintenance tunnel.
Right. Or we could just, wait
Yeah.
and have him show us around and see if maybe there's a maintenance tunnel that will take us down to the side or whatever of
We could look
where
for
we
that.
want to go.
Like, while we're looking with the guard, we could look for
Sure.
that symbol.
Maybe find it and then come back, or are we going to
Yeah.
knock him out or kill him or something?
Oh, no.
No.
We can't kill this poor
Okay, good.
guy.
Good.
He's just
I mean,
little.
that's not my first choice.
He's a little old guy who knows when it used to be cool here.
It's
That'd be a tragedy.
we're on the same page.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was scared. Nedry's just writing in his book. Drawing pictures of
So we got a
unicorns with
couple
3
hours.
heads.
So sure
To,
enough, as the train, arrives, there's, people filing off of it and on, and, just the sort of activity you would expect there.
I actually will ask Nedry. I'll be like, do you think if you were immune to lightning damage, do you think you could grab the rails and be okay?
I mean, it's an experiment, depending on what kind of magic actually is involved.
You could make an Arcana check.
I mean, it's an experiment.
Is that history on purpose, or, I mean? Is
Oh,
it the
sorry, I
same?
hit the wrong one.
Well, it might be the same modifier.
It is the same modifier.
Okay,
yeah.
so it's a 12. So I would say that you are not sure, but that you can be sure at least that unless you are immune to lightning damage, you definitely don't want to grab it.
I mean, it would certainly be a start. There's probably a whole lot of magics involved. Probably a bit of force, probably a bit of, a bit of other things too. I wouldn't advise it.
I just wondered. I don't know.
No,
about
I
these
can
things.
create a shock, but yeah, I don't think I can absorb one well.
No, you probably would conduct a lot of electricity.
I mean, it's probably a spirit. It's actually encased in the railing. So it would probably be easier to try to approach it as a spirit rather than a lightning effect.
Well, you guys fought some lightning elementals.
Yeah. Everything in this whole world seems to run on spirits.
It's true. I'm still trying to figure out how to manifest them.
Maybe don't do that.
Why?
Maybe they don't like it.
I'm resistant to lightning damage.
So you would only take half damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would only be half dead.
We got those potions.
Yeah. But, I mean, if someone's got to reach in and get shocked, it'd probably be me.
No, I'd recommend you don't do that.
Yeah, I
There's
mean,
probably other ways.
yeah, probably
But
from
if-
underneath.
I'm
Well-
still trying to figure out why Tanglefoot would put it here. I mean, this is a very public place.
Well, it wouldn't have been back when it was new. It wouldn't
Yeah.
have been as public as it is now.
80 years ago, you know, like there might be one or two trains a day. And when the train wasn't here or wasn't about to arrive, there were probably very few people anywhere around.
I'm wondering if it has more to do with the rail line itself. It may be part of the power that's protecting it.
Yeah.
Maybe. Oh, so you think it? No, never mind.
I mean, it's what I would do. If I
Really?
had a ready source of power nearby.
So, is there a way to temporarily disable the power?
Probably. It probably has to be shut down for maintenance anyway.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I think that's if you had rolled higher on your Arcana for the for the lightning rail, I probably would have had more information there for you. But I think you think in general that a spell like Dispel Magic would at least temporarily suppress it.
At least part of it. It wouldn't shut down the whole line. That would be way too dangerous.
Yeah.
Although a great way to derail a train if you needed to. Just shut off a part of it before the train gets there. I wonder how bad that
Oh,
would be.
wow.
Yeah, that
Pretty
would
bad.
be bad. These are passenger trains. That would hurt people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
wonder if they
you
protect
know,
against that.
it's something to be curious about. I mean, what if something was,
I
even
think,
worse was going to happen?
I think if all you were doing is suppressing the lightning effect of it, all that would do, it wouldn't like be a derail thing, because there are like actual physical rails that the wheels are on. It's not like maglev, but the lightning is like what powers it and propels it forward. So, it might
Okay.
there might be like a jerk in the acceleration
Stutter.
or something like that, a stutter, but it wouldn't just send it right off the tracks or anything.
You'd probably have to time it just right on a curve or something to really do damage.
Yeah, that might do it.
Relatively safe, though. Do we know if they shut down the rail at some point? Is there a schedule?
That's not information that you have obtained so far.
No, I'm asking the ones that were at the information booth. Nedry was too distracted to go there.
Oh, okay.
She didn't really say, but I'm sure we could, look around some more and maybe look at some of the pamphlets at her desk. And
We could study the timetable. There might be a time when there's very few trains here.
yeah,
Yeah,
We've got time to look into it.
yeah,
yeah.
let's do it.
Let's go. Let's see what the schedule for track 2 is,
Okay.
or 1, 2, and
Periodically, right? You could easily find a time when there wouldn't be a train there, is my point. It's just not like, but the train schedule does not have, and then we shut the track down for 6 hours and leave it alone so people can dig it up. It doesn't, there's not anything in the public schedule like that.
That
But
is
they run
super
the-
inconvenient of them.
They run the trains all day and night then?
I mean, more or less. Like it's generally there's fewer overnight, but like some of the trains run long enough. Like the journey from here to say Villanacta might take several days, and so it could arrive at unusual times. So there's fewer departures at night, but sometimes the trains will arrive then. But yeah, like the public schedule doesn't have, maintenance times listed on it, because that's not generally something the public would need to know.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, you could theoretically ask about that, but of course that's the sort of information that's going to maybe start being like, why are you asking when the track is going to get maintenance? What reason would you have to know that?
Well, I mean, we could find a way to frame it. Be like, oh, how often are
yeah.
these tracks maintenance?
You could. I'm just saying that if you didn't come up with some sort of an explanation, it would be suspicious.
It's going to be risky.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Like, well, I'm really paranoid about such things. That kind of travel. I've never done it before, and I'm scared. Like, how often do they take care of the trains?
So, what happens if somebody drops something expensive down at the, underneath the plate of the lightning rail? How do they
maintenance
get
worker
it back?
collects it when they have a chance.
Right, but
Bonus for the maintenance worker.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking about like, if you were in New York City and you dropped something on the subway track, you're going to probably go to the officer and they're going to say,
Sucks to be you.
yep, sorry. And if it was important enough, they might say, okay, well, give us your contact information, and when we have a chance, we will get it and contact you.
What if it were a person?
Well, that might, I mean, that is an example of something that might, be a more emergency sort of situation.
Maybe we could make somebody get stuck in there.
Of course, even if they shut it down, you're still, trying to get something that's 6 feet further underneath. So.
Yeah.
right.
But if we break into a Teams,
I think we'll need 11 people to get this done.
Maybe we should hire some people.
we know where we can
Subcontract.
Do the putting
street
the crew together
ragamuffins,
montage, yeah.
Yep.
the pocket protector irregulars.
Cut to you coming up and giving a nod to Tuga, and he says, "You son of a bitch, I'm in."
Would that be? They're not the irregulars. They're the out of pockets.
That is so good that it has to happen now.
And like we have to play our own other characters.
Yeah, no, I absolutely believe that we will do at one point. I'm so in love with this idea that at some point we will do a one shot where you guys are playing kids in, the out of pockets.
Love it.
That we hired. That were hired by us. So I think we should just kind of stick with the thing of checking out the maintenance shafts and seeing what's down there and how accessible it is before we try to make any other plans.
Yeah, we don't really have a deadline or anything, so.
No. I mean,
We could look to see if there's any entrances into the tunnels nearby.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think you can look around this room. You don't have to look too far before you'll see a door that says maintenance tunnels, authorized personnel only.
I was thinking more of the ones that Tuga had pointed
Oh,
out.
well, yeah, that you could do that.
Like
That's a different
underground?
check, though.
Did we notice any underground entryways when we were walking towards the train station?
There are a couple of platforms that are below the main ground level outside. And so you don't really see any like entries or exits like for people to come out at that level, but there are train tracks that come out at that level, like where, you'll see one emerging from underground. If you know what
Okay.
I'm describing that in a way that makes sense.
Yeah, I
Okay,
I
good.
get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just, crawl across the top of one of those train tunnels. All right. So
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else to investigate.
I mean, if you guys
yeah.
just wanted to go get like cannolis or something at one of the street stands in the concourse, or like I mean, you could just hang out until it's time to meet Rush for
Yeah.
a tour.
Why don't we time wipe to then?
Definitely.
Okay, yeah, all right. So you know, eh, brief cut to everyone's eating like a cannoli and reading
Cannoli
the little
montage.
Yeah. Um, we get the shot of sequential discovering I can eat things now. Watch. Oh, just whole cannoli, just boom.
We discover that we can't actually get put anything into the bag because it's full of food that's not actually
Yeah, like the next time someone is like goes to get something out, it's like, what is this?
Oh, man.
What is this? It's got.
I gotta make
gunk
room in the
all over.
bag.
What is this?
Did that used to be?
Yeah, it's all just mushed in there now. Anyway, so once you hang around and wait long enough that Rush Tick, this dwarf, is able to be off duty, he kind of says, "So I mean, I can show you around in there, although I can't promise anything quite as as much of a spectacle as out here. But if you're interested in the behind the scenes and all that, sure."
Exactly.
All right.
Sometimes that's the exciting part, is knowing
That's
how
where the
things
real
work.
that's where the real history is.
So this has been long enough that your original casting of Locate Object would have expired, but you could cast it again if you wanted, because otherwise he's leading you through a bunch of tunnels that, like, how well you are navigating, how close you're at, or how far you are from where you want to be in these tunnels.
If we
Because, I mean, you can make an intelligence check if you want to just kind of, or maybe a survival check if you want to just kind of say, okay, well, let's see, we went 60 feet that way and then turned left. And, like, if you're just trying to do it like that, then we can make a check for it. Otherwise, you need to tell me how you're trying to keep your bearings.
That's a good question.
Now, like, what you could do is cast the Locate Object spell again, and it only lasts for 10 minutes, but then you have just kind of this constant, like, ping, ping.
Yeah, that's
ping,
what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And you can try to get him to lead us in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, so as you kind of focus on that, and you have this sort of little radar ping telling you in, like, what direction it is, the maintenance tunnels are... It depends on what you're interested in, how interesting you find them. Because by and large, they are certainly not decorated in a fancy way, right? They're very utilitarian. There's lots of, pipes and conduits and that sort of thing. Various little sort of magical, like, access panels and, continual flame lights just to keep the interior of the corridors lit, and various big, like, generators that you suppose are probably for powering the tracks at this stage. But what you find, maybe a little bit to your dismay, is that the tunnels that he's kind of leading you through are really kind of going in the wrong direction. They're not leading to underneath the track where you're trying to go. So that the tour he's taking you on is going away from that.
Okay. Is there anything over that way?
He kind of looks. I'm just trying to decide at what point it needs to be deception. I guess you're not saying anything untrue yet. But you are disguising your intent in a way, right? But
Yeah.
I'll say, like, persuasion, because again, it's a little bit like he's giving you on a tour. At what
Natural 20.
There you go. Yeah, no, he is just so enthralled with getting to show off parts of the station that most people don't get to see with people who actually seem interested. Isn't that cool? And this guy, he loves to hear himself talk. It's very obvious. I think as part of this tour, you end up getting, like, half of his life story, where like he actually did. He used to be an adventurer and actually did pretty well for himself. He got lots of treasures and he had enough to kind of retire comfortably. But then like, what is he going to do? Like after a life of being out there and doing adventure, he's just going to go sit in a room by himself. That doesn't seem any fun. And so like he got this job, and it's good for people watching, and like gives me structure to my day, and he's just on and on and on. So like
did you ever think of joining the Reclaimers?
No, I mean like they were all done with before I came to Pashan.
Oh, I've read stories.
Yeah, so Smarter Master is asking if he took an arrow to the knee. No.
I was going to ask that
Yes.
too. That was actually going to be my question.
It's a fair question, but no, he actually succeeded as an adventurer, retired comfortably, and then just now took a part-time job as a security guard because it keeps him busy.
He got the green ending. He's fine.
Yeah. So he, but yeah. So when Zinhorn is asking about like, well, what's over in that direction, he says, well, we don't really have the tunnels run directly underneath the tracks here because the power to them goes through a conduit, but there's not any access to it right there. But so over in that direction is just the sewer access.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess you got the waste has got to flow out somewhere.
Well, yeah, somewhere, and actually, there's some kobolds down there that sell produce. Sometimes, they'll come up, like they come up on street level outside too. But they come up here, and I buy like lettuce and greens from them sometimes.
So,
Really?
Yeah.
But if there aren't any ways to get under the tracks, what if something happens and they need to be worked on?
Well, I mean, the tracks are on the surface. Why do you need to be under them?
Well, I mean, if something structurally underneath was damaged and it was, causing a problem with the
I'll
tracks.
be right back.
I guess I assumed that conduit at the end, at the end of the rail, I assumed that was connected to something.
Well, it is.
Assumed it would need
but
maintenance.
It's not. But it's. He explains it's basically like just a big cable that runs through, just like a cable run. So there's not like a room underneath there. And he actually explains that like that would actually probably not be super safe because like the trains are pretty heavy. You don't want there to, like the more stuff you have directly underneath the track, the better.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah.
This has been really informative.
Well, he is just beaming that like you guys are interested in this tour. I think he occasionally gets into, I keep trying to tell Scara that she should let me do tours, but she's just like, no, you just do, you need to stay at your post.
Well, maybe you should tell her about us and she'll change her mind.
You know what? Put in a good word for me. She might listen to you. She's heard all my complaints already. I don't think they penetrate anymore.
Yeah, I'll have to put in a suggestion card. There should be tours.
Yeah.
So in any case, though, he indicates that there is a sewer access that kind of goes off in the direction that you're looking for, but that the maintenance tunnels don't go that way, and also indicates that generally by design there are not like access points directly under the tracks because you'd be worried about the train falling through if that were the case.
Right. Okay. So we thank him, and I think we should go outside. And when we get out there, so I have no idea how we're going to get this. I mean, yeah, we can go in through the sewers, but if there's no, actual space underneath, how are we going to get to it?
Well, there's no space that he knows of. There's no.
Right.
Yeah.
maybe the kobolds know.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think he indicates that he's not gone down in the sewers there. It's just that like there's an access there that he's never gone down. So he doesn't really know what's down there, except that, as he mentioned, sometimes kobolds come up and they sell them like produce.
Seems like where we need to be.
Yeah.
All right. So do you look around for sewer access, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, and also he said the kobolds come up from the sewers and sell produce. I'm pretty sure they ain't growing it down there. So they got to come up and go back down, and we'll keep our eyes out for the kobolds as well as looking for sewer access.
Okay. Well, so I think what are you looking for primarily? Like sewer access or kobold produce?
Do we
Sewer access.
see?
Okay.
I mean, are there any kobolds like as we're looking for the sewer access?
Well, yeah,
Did we
I
see
mean,
anybody up there selling veggies?
Well, so you don't, at least in the vicinity that you're currently looking. But go ahead and make. You can have someone make an investigation check with advantage, because essentially you guys are not looking for just any sewer access. You're looking for like, well, what is the one that seems like it might go where we need it to go?
I think Nedry's investigation is better than mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at +0.
I'm at
I'm
plus
proficient
4.
with a +6.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got a +7.
yeah.
Nedry. He can do it.
What do you see?
So we're looking for this. Okay.
Yeah, a sewer access that seems like it would be in approximately the right vicinity.
Okay. Yeah.
Because from outside, you have to kind of go around from where the main entrance to the concourse was to try to say, like, well, what's outside of the old part of the, the platform where you were.
More holes underneath the city.
All right, so that's a 23. The other one would have been a natural one, but
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so with the 23, I think you find you find a manhole that seems like it's in kind of about the right area. It's pretty close to the outside of that part of the building.
How conspicuous is this manhole?
Not very, because this part of the station is really not it's not designed for foot traffic. So it's a little bit like, it's the double-edged sword of there's hardly anybody around, but that also means that, like, if anyone were to be watching, like, they would be wondering what you're doing there. Right? It's like, this is where, you didn't have to, like, scale a fence or anything, but you're kind of like, you're going around back where it's just like, just brick walls and, alleys and stuff like that.
Well, this looks like the way into those tunnels anyway.
All right.
Yeah. I guess if we
Are
just
we
try to be
gonna-
really quick about it.
Yeah, are we gonna go in
Duck
now?
in.
We could
I
wait
think
for
so.
dark.
Well, you guys.
And it's probably getting close to dark because I don't know how long that tour took, but
Yeah, I would say like maybe an hour and a half start to finish. So like the sun's not down yet, but it's you're into the early evening.
More
Is there-
cannolis.
is there anybody around? I was gonna say, is there?
Yeah. I don't really see anybody around.
Yeah.
I want
So
that to
we
be
go for it.
our word whenever we're gonna just like we're gonna fast forward time and go eat something.
Let's cannoli.
Yeah. Hey. I like it. All right. So like if you guys head down into this manhole, I've got a sewer map for you. Let me take Carolina's
Sweet.
token off of there. All right. So you guys know approximately the direction that you want to go in, and so I can start uncovering stuff for you.
Ooh.
But
Ah.
yeah, so what as you are kind of making your way along, you can the trickle of storm sewer runoff there, which, like I said, this is not raw sewage, but it's not clean. But it's relatively shallow there. You don't have to do too much in the way of avoiding it. But as you pass this area, right where Zaline is, you see that there is what looks like a relatively not hastily constructed barricade, but like not much attention paid to like making it look nice. It is a wooden barricade with a sign on it that has, in relatively nice handwriting, a sign that says "Danger, keep out." And that's what that little barricade says. And then the sewer tunnel kind of just continues to the south.
Yeah, step right over that.
I think we should just go right in there.
Yeah.
It says
So-
danger, keep out.
Do we have a general sense of which direction we should be going in?
Well, I think you
Thanks.
guys kind of, were sort of turned around and looking for something outside. And so, obviously, if you cast the spell again, that gives you a big clue. But if you want to just try to, orienteer it, I would like a survival roll from someone.
I have
try to
+4.
be managing in your head distances plus directions and
I'm +2.
I have +4.
It's only a 1.
I got nothing.
Okay.
Alright.
I'll do it.
Oh, that's pretty good. 21. You have the general feeling that right now, due east is approximately the direction you want to go.
Okay.
All right.
So
I think we
basically,
need to
in
go-
the direction of that barricade.
I think we need to
Oh.
go this way punch through the warning label, guys.
Sure, I've
Yeah.
got a crowbar.
Oh, no, use the bat. No, never mind. That might get us away.
Yeah. So the barricade is it's not really designed to prevent access to a determined individual. It's really more to be like anyone getting through is going to have to put some effort into it, so you don't get people. The intent is you don't get people just wandering through.
Yeah.
but you are able to
Yeah.
pull it aside.
I've got the crowbar,
Yeah.
and when we pass through, I can use mending and put it back together.
Okay.
Like we never even came through.
Yeah.
That's
So
genius.
you're able to remove that pretty trivially. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. So you look through, and there's a kind of a cave openings in a couple of directions there.
Oh, if you see some places which are really, really sticky, yell out and we can make sure to say the appropriate rhymes.
Okay, good point.
Oh, okay. So
I mean, there could be another group road.
Yeah.
Are we going
Yeah.
straight?
So from where you are, sequential, you look down. There's, you can see that there's seems to be a dead end to the north. A path that curves around a little bit to the south, and then you can keep going straight.
Is there something there? Or is it just the map?
Up here, up to the north, is just a dead end.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to suggest that you let me lead,
Okay.
since Sequential's got the best armor, but I think I'm more of the tank at the moment, or
Mhm.
it's going to be one of the two of us.
So I think as you pass this place where there's opening to the south, you see that a little ways along there is what looks like a wooden doorway, going back to the west.
Okay.
Hey, there's a doorway down here. Maybe it's some of the kobolds.
Maybe.
Maybe.
What's the doorway look like?
Like like a doorway. I mean, there's no sign or signage or anything on it. It's
Do
a
you need
pretty
vegetables?
straightforward wooden door.
Are you hungry again? With your never-ending stomach?
I mean, it doesn't look like it even has a lock on it.
I'm gonna
You wanna
knock on the
check it
door.
out?
All right. There's no answer. You knock, but no answer.
Is
Do
it
you want
locked?
to go in?
Do you try to open it?
Yep.
It is not locked. And you open it, and there is a storage room in there.
Ooh.
And you see that there is, like, another opening kind of in this southwest corner there. But it seems to be a lot of just crates and bags and supplies of all sorts of different, like, sundries.
Is there a maybe a label or an ownership or anything indicated on them?
Nope. I mean, some of them have like various just sort of like labels or like brands on them, but in such a way as you suspect, like that's like in the same way that like if you were looking through someone's pantry, you would see the food labels on it, right? Not there's not like a consistent branding.
Okay.
Does it look like supplies, like repair supplies, or?
It looks basically like someone's storage shed. It's
Okay.
that kind of stuff.
It's a weird place to keep a
little
storage
warehouse,
shed.
but kind of cluttered.
Oh, I'm guessing these are pretty active. Then, must be a fair amount of foot traffic.
Yeah, I mean it does look like it's used regularly. Like there's not like a ton of dust on things or anything like that.
Do you suggest we keep going east?
Yeah,
Eileen?
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Definitely keep going east.
Okay. So, as you are making your way through here, it is pretty dark. There was a little bit of light when you were in like the sewer tunnels part, but here it's completely dark. So, I don't think you have dark vision, Zinhorn. Are you?
I do
casting
now.
light?
I'm
Okay.
attuned to a dagger
Blind sight.
of blind sight.
Right, and that gives you, I think, 30 feet of blind sight.
I believe that you are correct.
I
Okay.
have 60.
All right. So I think
have nothing, so yeah, I'm gonna need.
Hold on
torch
to
or
my
something.
billowing cloak.
Sure.
you guys are not generating like using a torch or doing
I could,
anything else.
I mean, I'd
You mean
You can light
probably
a
prefer.
torch if
I
you want
have a
to, but-
lantern.
Okay.
I think I have a lantern. I thought I had a
Zinhorn.
lantern.
I'm gonna actually walk up beside Zinhorn just because I can see a little bit further than he can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quite a bit further.
So
Yeah,
do
same
you
here.
light the
Other
lantern
side.
or no?
Apparently, I don't have a lantern or torches or anything.
Toss him that coin, Zinhorn.
Toss
Well,
the
no,
coin
I'll
to
just-
your artificer.
Yes, I'm just gonna.
Oh, that's right. Duh,
I can cast light. If
Yeah.
I cast light on your shield or your staff or whatever you
Okay.
want me to cast light on.
So for narrative effect, what I will say is you guys were all kind of fussing with that because making sure everybody could see. So even those of you who could, see a little bit further anyway, were kind of not paying too much attention yet because you're making sure everyone can see first. But then as you cast light and more of these tunnels are revealed, all of a sudden in this big cavern ahead of you, there is a large creature with all sorts of weird, like 3 big tentacles on it and a big toothy maw that snarls at you and then starts trundling in your direction. And I think that we will roll initiative next time.
That'll come to me.
Yes. So, I think we will finish here for tonight. Thank you, everybody, for listening and or watching. We hope you enjoyed. And we will return next week for more adventure on so many levels.
So many
So
levels.
many levels.